We're basically stripping all the nutrients out of the earth. We're spilling all this toxic waste into our home environments and into the external environments, and we're basically killing the planet. And we have to start getting a social conscience about what we're doing.
Mankind has witnessed a tremendous change in its environment over the last 150 years, in fact ever since the Industrial Revolution. And a kind of corporate arrogance, a kind of cultural arrogance prevails, whereby all problems can be solved with man's endeavour. And so this has relegated natural processes somewhat to the use of drugs, chemicals, and of course in agriculture, pesticides, herbicides, larvicides, and these types of things. And the effect it's had on our bodies has been tremendous.
It's those chemicals, it's that stress of life, it's those environmental contaminants and pollutants outside. Just for example, air pollution, water contaminants, all of those literally mean that our body is constantly being bombarded. Now, our bodies are literally 5 million years old. Sometimes it feels like that when you wake up in the morning, but they're 5 million. Our digestive system, all of these things, our muscles, we were designed to be leading a life of the hunter-fisher-gatherer.
And the only stress we had was the acute stress of the kill. And there were no synthetic chemicals.
Fast forward 5 million years, and here we are, living inside in a contaminated environment with poor air quality, low quality food, an abundance of food, over-processed food, and as a result we have an increasing rate of chronic illness. You know, we're supposed to be eating the fruits, the nuts, the berries. We're supposed to be eating the vegetables, the beans. We're supposed to be eating fish and an incredibly small amount of meat. We're supposed to be leading an active lifestyle, physically active lifestyle, and in fact we're supposed to be leading quite a relaxed mental lifestyle. And all of that has been twisted so much that this lifestyle is literally killing us.
The immune system today is having to deal with tens of thousands of completely alien chemicals to the biological experience of the human organism. And what that means over a period of time is that we can become immune deficient, especially if we have the two-edged sword of the diet, or a poor diet, lack of hydration, lack of exercise, and stress cutting in at the same time.
I would suggest that up to 95% of the chronic illnesses that we're suffering from ADHD to Alzheimer's, heart attack, to stroke and cancer, to arthritis and all those other diseases are linked with our diet and lifestyle of the 21st century.
I think it's important to recognise the fact that 1 in every 2 men get cancer in their lifetimes and 1 in every 3 women get cancer in their lifetimes, and that we are facing a major and unparalleled cancer epidemic. These figures represent a major escalation in the incidence of cancer over the last 4 decades. And at the rate in which we're going, I think I can reasonably estimate that while we're having 1 in 2 men getting cancer now in their lifetimes, it'll become an almost universal problem in which 1 in every man will get cancer in their lifetime, unless we come to grips with this question of reducing avoidable exposures to carcinogens in the totality of our environment.
In my practice, I have seen a lot of toxicity issues, a lot of sensitivity, allergy issues. We have people who are sensitive because the total load of all these sensitizing chemicals is too much for them to bear.
We're using chemicals that have simply not been tested over time to see what their effects would be, say, on the blood work, the reproductive system, the endocrine system, and these problems are now being identified as disease, and then a drug is being given to that person to correct the symptom, but no way is that correcting the underlying disease process, or indeed the causative process, which could be chemical. Pretty much everything that we're using today contains chemicals that are foreign to the biological experience of the human condition, and so we're seeing reactions from that.
A large source of avoidable carcinogenic exposures are cosmetics and personal care products.
A chemical I'm concerned about is sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, and the reason I'm concerned about it is, first of all, we know it's used extensively in industry as a degreaser, but Nowadays, it's found in just about every single one of the personal care products that an individual will have. So you've got it in your soaps, you've got it in your shampoos, conditioners, you've got it in your toothpaste. Anything that foams up, you've got sodium lauryl sulfate.
And it is particularly harsh on our skin. It strips away all the natural oils, and it's not only on our skin that we have to look at, but this is commonly found in toothpastes as well.
And of course, in a toothpaste, it's mixed with another half a dozen or a dozen products. And of course, they can also disrupt the cells in the mouth. The SLS can then be absorbed quicker into the blood, whereas it's exactly where you don't want it. Why do you want a foaming agent in your blood? It's crazy.
I find that propylene glycol is one of the main ingredients that we need to look out for. Propylene glycol has very harsh effects on our system. It is known to be an industrial cleansing agent. So even though it might cleanse our skin and hair and so forth, we've got to look at the cost, the health cost that it has on our system. So when you're looking at products like soaps and shampoos and even dishwashing liquids and those sorts of things, that these are commonly used ingredients because they can give us that foaming agent and that cleansing aspect. And
so we find that, for example, diethanolamine causes cancer in rats. Now, would I want my children to be bathing in a bubble bath with diethanolamine in it? And it's unforgivable that cosmetic companies are using it. It's unexplainable that the governments, etc., are allowing this to happen. But the most surprising thing is that the cancer societies around the world have not put their foot down. This has been going on since 1975. We have known about it since 1975 or 77. And so we're looking at something like 35, 40 years of complete disregard for human safety. When you consider that we are exposed to these chemicals from conception to death, when you consider the interaction between all these chemicals and the fact that they accumulate in the body, in organs, etc., the combined effect can be extremely damaging.
We have a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has interposed itself between the plucking of the apple and the eating of it. And how old is your food? How long has it been on the road? How long does it take to get it to you? How long is it stored for? Is it stored in temperature controlled conditions that will prevent the food from degrading? We know there are vitamin C issues with food that is left lying around at room temperature. We also know that a lot of these foods are grown in soils that have become progressively deficient in minerals over the years. So we end up with sick crops, which passes the whole problem to the agrochemical industry, who now have to offer farmers pesticides, herbicides, and a whole range of chemicals to rid the bugs. Of course, the bugs are only there because the food is sick. And that's the food that goes into the food chain.
For example, if you've ever tasted a backyard tomato grown in good soil, it's delicious. And the ones you get from the shop are empty of taste and empty of nutrients.
It concerns me when I hear this nonsense that people go on with when they say, oh, but doctor, I don't need to take a supplement because I eat a lot of good food. Well, they might be thinking they're eating a lot of good food. And as I said, fruit and vegetables, very important. But I don't think in this modern society that it's enough.
What we need most of all are literally a balancing system, and that is supplements. Antioxidants, essential fatty acids, the vitamins and minerals, these are absolutely essential for a healthy 21st century individual.
We definitely need to look at putting in additional nutrients into our system. So supplements in the form of herbal and nutritional, mineral, etc. are a very easy way to top our system up, keep our immune system on track for our life. Not just getting people on the right track with what they're eating, but to try and make sure that we actually top up their diet with nutrients that are missing in this day and age.
So prevention is so important, but what's the problem in our modern medical system? We have the ambulance parked at the bottom of the cliff waiting for people to fall off. So instead of fixing the rails at the top of the cliff, what do we do in medicine? We build faster ambulances. We wait for someone to have their heart attack or their bowel cancer operation, and then we give them treatment. That's craziness. I think what we all have to do is realise that it's not someone else's problem. If you're listening to this today, realise that what happens in the environment is every single person's responsibility. every single person's problem. So I believe life is about making a decision. It's not making the big decision that you're going to change the planet. It's not making the big decision you're going to change yourself and be healthy. It's making 30, 40, 50 small decisions every day. Decisions like, no, I won't use the elevator or the lift or the escalator. I'll walk up the stairs. No, I won't eat that biscuit. I'll have a piece of fruit, or I'll have a natural, a handful of natural nuts or something like that. I won't yell at that idiot in the traffic who just cut in front of me. It's about making all those small decisions. No, I will use a more natural product than using some synthetic deodorant. I'll use a natural toothpaste than a synthetic toothpaste. It's making all of these small decisions in your life every day that either take you and the planet towards good health, or you and the planet towards a premature death and demise. And we not only have a responsibility for ourselves, but a responsibility for our children and our children's children to keep all of us and to keep the planet very healthy.